one of the best things you can do for yourself in your personal growth journey is to balance self improvement with self compassion. And when we slip and when we fail, is when we need self compassion. So, in my case, about 2 years ago, I started this habit of waking up at 5 a.m. I had just read the book called The 5 a.m. Club. I was super motivated and I even made videos about it. I and then I did the waking up at 5 a.m. as much as it was very hard, but I did that for many, many months, maybe almost a year. I can't remember. But then I arrived at a point where I just could not. And then I started feeling bad about myself. I started feeling like, okay, look at you. This is the lady who's preaching it to others and can't even do it herself. I felt really bad and I felt like I was a failure. So that was my first reaction. But then I tried to use some self-compassion and say that, okay, I tried my hardest and I stuck to it for a very long time. But just because some author has prescribed this formula of waking up at 5 a.m. and it's like a fancy or a cool thing to do, which a lot of other people are doing, 5 a.m. club, it doesn't mean I have to blindly follow it. Maybe for me, waking up at 6 a.m. would be equally okay. So I tried to use some self-compassion in that sense. And I have slipped in other things too, not just the 5 a.m. Like with my healthy eating, I did this program and I ate super healthy for a long time. And then I noticed I started slipping back into my unhealthy eatings, going for the dessert, going for the sugar. And again, my first reaction was to feel like a failure and say, okay, well, I couldn't do it. I suck at this. But then with some time and patience, I tried to shut down that inner critic and use some self compassion. And if I looked back at my healthy eating journey, I realized that even though, yes, I was going for the desserts, but if I still compare myself to where I was 2 years ago, I'm still a much healthier eater. So sometimes our self growth journey can be two steps forward, one step back, two steps forward, one step back. But if you zoom out, and look at that big picture, you're still going forward one step at a time. And if your pace is slower than what you thought it should be, then that's fine. You're still 1% better. You're still better than a year ago or better than 5 years ago. So it's equally important to congratulate yourself for the progress you have made instead of standing and looking at your goal and thinking, oh, I'm nowhere near that. I should have been there by now. So self compassion is huge, huge. We can be our own worst critics and be so hard on ourselves. And that actually comes in the way of making progress.